You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
This is Jenny Earhart with Southern Sisters Radio, and I'm your Southern Sister. In case you didn't know, you can check us out every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. And I'd love to hear from you. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
Welcome to Southern Sisters Radio, the show for Southern women and the men who adore them. Join us as we celebrate life from a Southern point of view. Here's your host, author, founder of Southern Sisters Home, Jenny McCormick Earhart.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Southern Sisters Radio program. Here we are. It's Saturday in the South, and we are loving life in the South.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if it's as much fun for the men as it is for the women, but, we get to crack out our sundresses, our strappy sandals. Girls, you know what I'm talking about. You guys just go from khaki pants to khaki shorts.
Yeah, but you know what? The shorts are oh so sweet.
Yes, they are.
So sweet.
You know what? Earl was wore a pair of khaki shorts to the Braves game last night. They were a little bit wrinkled. They were new, and and I said, I got a trick for you. I said, because we only had about 5 minutes before we had to leave the house. We didn't want to break out the iron.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'd like to do if something has just a few little wrinkles in it? This is the Southern Sisters trick, y'all. Maybe everybody already knows about it, but I take a washcloth and I dampen it. Right? And throw that item and the wrinkled item into the dryer. And so that dampness in the washcloth kind of steams inside the dryer. And inside of 2 minutes, they came out. They were just perfect, wrinkle-free.
I've actually before tossed an ice cube in the dryer, an ice cube or two.
I've never,
and it works for me.
Same principle, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just interjecting a little steamy heat, I guess, into there.
Damp rag, that's really good.
Just a little damp washcloth. I just put a little water on it and threw it in there.
Perfect.
And it worked. He was impressed, and it's hard to impress my husband.
Yeah, guys, we don't need to walk out with wrinkly shorts
No.
We all do that probably too often.
Right? Well, I don't know how you guys are spending your summer, but my vacations for the summer are pretty much over, so I am stuck in the heat in town for the rest of the summer. Yeah. And, of course, the air conditioning is my BFF.
Oh, yes.
Don't tell Pam I said that, but it is beastly hot. But one thing that is often kind of characteristic of summertime is we may have visitors coming and going. We may have out-of-town guests. A lot of you guys may have family members.
Absolutely. This is the most traveling time of the year.
Right? And I like the best guests are the ones that don't stay too long.
Yes, and clean up after themselves.
And don't expect me to be a cruise director.
Yes.
I like that, too.
It's like, you're here. I gave you a place to sleep. Figure it out.
I know, right? Right? But, being Southern women and Southern men, we are a hospitable bunch.
Of course.
For the most part. We're kind of known for that here in the South. And so, guys, I have got some great suggestions for you for how to prepare for your house guests this summer.
Oh, please.
Or any time of year,
Lord
for that
knows
matter.
We need all the help we can get.
Right? The trick is to keep the temperature as high as possible in their bedrooms so they're uncomfortable and they leave soon. I'm kidding. No, every good Southern host or hostess could benefit from a little primer, I guess we should say, in how to prepare properly for house guests. And these are some ideas that actually might make their stay more pleasant, which will make your stay, your experience more pleasant, right?
Absolutely.
So let's kind of run through this. Now, I know we've had house guests already a couple of times this summer.
Oh, yeah.
Right, they come for 2 to 3 days. People that are traveling for their summer vacations, maybe they stop into town. Or now that we have, between my husband and I, we have 6 children.
You've got all the kids coming back for summertime
They
vacations.
come back for visits. They come back for visits, which we love. But some things I've kind of done over the summertime and some suggestions that you guys might want to consider for your out-of-town guests. How about this? Have a spare key made. Now, if your guests are kind of coming and going on their own, right?
Yes.
You want to give them a way to get back into the house if you're not home. So tell guests, if you have an extra key and they arrive when you're not home, tell them where it's hidden, right? So they can get in and maybe hand it over when they get there so they're not ringing the doorbell every time they need to come in and out.
Very good point.
Right?
That's really helpful.
So a spare key is a helpful thing for your house guests. Make up the bed with clean sheets. Of course, that's obvious. I had guests come in a couple of weeks ago, and I thought I had taken care of everything. And literally about 15 minutes before they got there, I realized I hadn't changed the sheets.
Oh, no.
On the last guest. So I was tearing upstairs, ripping everything off the bed. So make sure the bed is nice and made up with clean sheets. If you have an air mattress, if you rely on an air mattress for your guests, maybe for the kids, test it out.
Please.
Test it out.
Nothing's more fun than 9:30 at night. Hey, can we run down to the Walmart because it has a big old hole
it's a
in
big
it.
old hole, and it's not holding the air. Also, gathering up extra pillows and blankets. You know, your guests may be accustomed to sleeping with 2 pillows.
Yes.
Or in my case, 6 pillows.
That sounds like there's a very specific someone in mind.
I like to be, maybe. I like to be encased by pillows. I like pillows in front, pillows on the back. That comes from my pregnant days. Back in the days with a 9-month pregnant woman, you need extra pillows.
Yes, you got to have a lot of, support and edges and everything else going on.
Cushion you up.
Yes.
Yeah, you may get used to that. But guests may be used to sleeping with more pillows or maybe an extra blanket. So it's always a good idea to maybe keep an extra blanket or 2 under the bed. Just kind of store it down there or maybe lay it out when your guests arrive. Make a little room in the closet. Okay.
Yes.
Now, you may be, your closet may be full of Christmas decorations. I don't know. But if there is no guest room, you want to be sure to clear a little space either in the hall closet or someplace for them to hang up their things. Okay. Also, how about for older guests? And I actually ran into this with my grandmother years ago. For the older guests, it's really nice for them to have like a suitcase stand. And they're cheap. You can buy them cheaply or just make something like an old chest or something that they can lay their suitcase on top of.
Yes.
Rather than plopping it on the floor. And for older folks, sometimes it's more difficult for them to have to bend over to rummage through their suitcase every time. So a little suitcase stand is a nice touch. Having toiletries ready and accessible. You never know what they're going to forget, right? Your guests.
True.
Those cute little mini bottles that you collect from the hotels.
Yeah, if you don't have any of those, you can get them at the store they're very cheap. They don't need a full.
No.
You don't want to get a whole tube of toothpaste for them because then they might think they're allowed to stick around that long.
Yeah, they're going to stay.
You get the little bitty ones. Yeah.
No, just the little ones, the little samples. I do that actually on my guest bathroom. I just have a little thing there that they can use. So that's always a good idea. Maybe shampoo, conditioner, body lotion, a bar of soap, that kind of thing. I get even toothbrushes in 12 packs.
Oh yeah.
And then you just keep some extra toothbrushes, maybe under the counter. But anyway, that's a great idea. Of course, a spare towel. Now, this is an interesting conversation I've actually had with a couple of the male members of my family. Men typically 1 towel, Yeah. I mean, women 2. There's the hair towel and the body towel. I mean, it's just,
true.
Don't ask a woman to make do on 1 towel.
No.
Because then what do you dry first when you're getting out of the shower?
That's a good point. I have learned that living with a woman. You got to have 2 towels.
It's a whole, the
maybe
hair.
even 3 just in case.
Maybe 3. The hair is a whole separate entity.
It is.
It requires its own towel. No question about it. Another good idea is to prepare some snacks, things that you can just kind of have on hand for your guests. I like to put out things like, crackers or maybe cheese, hummus, have things in the refrigerator just for snacks. Definitely some breakfast items. If your guests are there and you still have to go to work and maybe you leave before they get up, having some orange juice, some fruit, maybe some muffins or something out for them.
And make it clear as to what is in there that they can get to. Because obviously, everyone's got, don't touch my ice cream.
Right, don't be messing
with my specific tub of it,
Keep your hands off the chocolate chip mint. Don't go there. But, I also find a Keurig is great for guests. Because
amazing.
They can have their own flavors.
Exactly.
That's a real treat. I have a relative who just loves it's the Kahlua coffee.
Oh.
It doesn't actually have Kahlua in it. It's just flavored.
Yeah.
But I kind of keep, when I know he's coming, I keep that on hand.
There you go.
Makes him feel real special. How about making maybe a list of activities, things that they can do locally? Once again, this is good if they're going to be going out and about and you're not home with them. Maybe just things that they can do where the local parks are.
Yes.
You know, shops or museums or little areas they might want to go and explore, while you are at work,
doing your thing,
making the money, right? How about I always like to put out maybe some books on the bedside table, or some local magazines or something like that, and then important phone numbers. If you're not home and they are, it'd be a good idea to give them a list of emergency contacts, maybe even a family member or a neighbor that if something should happen at the house while you're not there, they can reach somebody.
Absolutely. That one trusted neighbor you always, hey, can you keep an eye on the house for me while we're out of town? Make sure you pass that along,
right?
Because you never ever know. You
don't know when something's going to happen. If something's going to go wrong, it's going to be when you're not there.
Exactly.
And then lastly, write down a few little household instructions, like how does the remote control work?
Please.
How do you turn off the security alarm if it's going off? You know what I'm saying? Give the guests some pointers in case they get stumped while you're gone. But once again, don't make it too cushy for them.
No,
you may never get rid of them
that long.
Well, guys, yes, indeed. Summertime is all about traveling and visiting our family members, almost as much as the Christmas season.
Yes.
It is a time that people are traveling around. So there are some tips for you for making your home the welcoming oasis it needs to be for your guests. And we have got a fantastic show.
Yes.
Oh, my word. We're talking cast iron skillets, amazing recipes, and how to deliciously stay hydrated this summer. We'll be right back.
You're listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
Hey, KLRN radio family, this is Jenny Earhart. Check out the Southern Sisters radio show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Jenny Earhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. Connect with me personally. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
Turn off the telly, Nelly. Come to the table, Mabel. Now sit up straight, Kate. It's time to eat, Pete. Have a banana, Hannah. Try the salami, Tommy. Get with the gravy, Davy. Everybody eats when they come to my house.
And welcome back to the Southern Sisters radio program. Yes, we're eating. Yes, we're cooking.
Of course.
As I always say, cooking is just an ends to a means. A means to an end. I can't even talk today. So cooking is just the quickest way to be able to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Short of the drive-through.
Very good.
Which has its place and time. I mean,
it
that's,
does.
you know, there are times when that is a drive-through is what you need. But for
even
the most,
sometimes you can cook a little bit quicker than it takes to get over there and get
Isn't
back,
that true?
right?
Isn't that true?
It's just worth it.
When I think of all the time it takes sometimes just to get out and get the convenience food, I could have whipped it up myself.
Yes.
Planning is the key to cooking efficiently at home. Have what you need in the house, and then you'd be amazed how quickly it is to you can pull everything together. But one of my favorite things about cooking in the South, and probably just an essential tool in every Southern woman or man's kitchen, is the cast iron skillet.
Oh, of course.
Right?
You got to have one.
Got to have one if you live in the South. You may even be lucky enough to have inherited one from your mother or grandmother or great-grandmother.
There are some very old cast iron skillets in some people's kitchens, for sure.
Well, you got to ask yourself, are you really using your cast iron skillet to its full potential? No.
No. Most of us probably are not.
I'm going to inspire you today to pull that sucker out and really start using it.
All right.
I use mine almost daily now, and I didn't used to. Yeah, use it for everything. Let's talk a little bit about why cast iron skillets are so wonderful to use in the kitchen. I'm going to give you some reasons, okay? And then we're going to talk about how you incorporate that into your recipes, and then we are going to just dazzle you with some cast iron skillet recipes today in the third segment. You're going to love it. Now, listen to this, guys. You're actually going to use a little less oil when you're cooking in a cast iron skillet, okay? Now, when you season cast iron, right? Now, season it with oil, right? Now, the fat in the oil polymerizes. You like that word?
Ooh.
Polymerizes, forming a hard, smooth, nonstick surface for cooking. Okay? Because of this, you can use less oil when you do cook with a well-seasoned cast iron pan. Right? You don't have to, butter it up as much, right? Not only does this allow you to make lower fat dishes, but it also means less oil is wasted.
Wonderful.
How about that?
Wow.
So you're creating a surface on there. The seasoning is creating a surface on top of the cast iron, right? Another good reason for using cast iron is, it may seem obvious, but it's hot. Okay? Yes. So cast iron is one of the best materials for heat retention due to the density of the metal. While it is known for creating hot spots in the pan, you can avoid this for the most part by preheating it in the oven or on the range first. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm
Do you see what I'm saying? Never thought about that.
And a lot of recipes call for that. Get it hot in the oven first. Pop it in there and then use it.
Wow.
Okay? The high heat is perfect for foods like steak that need to be seared, and it'll create that nice browning effect. So when it hits the skillet sizzle, you get that sizzle, right? Cast iron is oven safe. One great feature of cast iron cookware is that you can use it both on the stovetop and in the oven. This is perfect for when you need to keep a dish warm or when you need to finish off a dish. I do this all the time. I start certain things on the stovetop, and then I finish it in the oven.
That's cool.
Here's the thing you need to watch out for, okay? Normally when you're cooking with a skillet on the stove, I'm able to grab the handle with my bare hands, no problem.
Oh, yeah.
If you have taken a cast iron skillet out of the oven and then you put it on the stove, why are you laughing, Nick? Why are you laughing? Do you know where I'm going with this?
Maybe.
Literally, I can step away from the stove and turn back to it a minute later and forget that doggone thing was in the oven and put my hand on the handle.
And
blisters on the hand.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've done that before. So don't do that. Don't do like Jenny does.
Be careful.
Do like Jenny says. Be careful. Now, also, another reason to use cast iron skillets is it's more durable than nonstick cookware. That probably doesn't surprise you, Nick, does it?
No, not
nonstick cookware has risen in popularity over the last few decades because of its ease of use. With a properly seasoned cast iron piece, you can use metal utensils without fear of losing that coating.
Yes.
On good nonstick skillets, they tell you not to use any metal utensils.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Not so with cast iron.
Oh, yeah, you can go to town with cast iron.
Beat up on that sucker.
It almost makes it better. I think that's something too. When it comes to a cast iron skillet, if you see someone who has one in their kitchen,
right?
If it looks pristine, it looks weird.
Oh, I know.
It's got to have, a couple dents and dings and
it does.
chips on it and stuff. It's got to be nice and
It's
worn.
got to look like it's been cooked in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It adds character.
One of my big pet peeves, and I guess it's maybe from having written cookbooks and been through more food photo shoots than I can count, is it's so obvious to me. I don't know if you may start noticing it now. When you see a picture of like a skillet or a cast iron skillet or even a baking dish, and you can look at the picture and say, and they made that dish in a different...
Yeah.
They made it in a different pan, and then they transferred it in because there's like no food stuck around the edges. It's all... It literally looks like they just laid the cooked food in the pan. And I'm like, that's not how it looks.
No, it doesn't. It's much more messy. Which makes it look yummy.
The messy is the fun part,
exactly.
Right? Messy is the fun part. Also, guys, another reason to use cast iron in your cooking, it's affordable. Right? Because the process of creating cast iron cookware is relatively simple, it tends to be very affordable. You can get great Lodge cast iron skillets at Walmart.
Oh, yeah.
Now, not to mention, it will virtually last forever, unlike nonstick pans that you may have to replace every few years.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Also, it's easy to clean, believe it or not. Okay? So despite the fact that many people fear cleaning their cast iron cookware, it's not rocket science. How do you clean a cast iron skillet or a pot? You simply scrub any dried-on food with a firm brush, water, maybe even a little kosher salt.
Oh.
I keep kosher salt in a little bowl by myself. So you can throw that in there. That acts as the abrasive. So you can kind of clean it out. Next, dry it with a paper towel. If you have to, something that's really stuck on, you can stick it back on the range and warm it up a little bit, right?
Yes.
And then just wipe it down with a paper towel.
And that's all it takes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, I think people because we all are so used to using the non-stick and everything else, and you have to clean it and put all the soap in it, and sometimes run it through the dishwasher and everything else. And no, cast irons, back from the good old days. You just wipe it off.
Durable.
And it's good.
Yeah, keep going. Now, cast iron can be used with any heat source. That's another thing to remember. One of the great features of cast iron is the fact that you can use it on electric, you can use it on gas, you can use it on the grill.
Yes.
Hello. Right? Toss whatever you're cooking in there, put it right on top of the grill, close the grill. Once again, get your hot mitt.
Yes.
Remember the hot mitt to take it. That would seem obvious for most cooks.
Well, maybe.
My husband refers to me as the accidental cook.
Accidental cook because you accidentally became a cook, or you're a cook who has a lot of accidents.
That would be the nicer option. Sadly for me, what it really means is that something is either dropped on my foot, dropped on somebody else's foot. Yeah, I have scars up and down my arms from cooking. I get excited and I get moving in the kitchen.
That's what it is. You just get such in groove and you're just rolling.
I'm just not even thinking, kind of like the absent-minded professor. There you go. How about versatility, guys? Cast iron cookware is often referred to as the workhorse of the kitchen, and this could not be more true. With proper care and seasoning, you can deep fry, braise, roast, and bake in your cast iron. Now, you guys are going to have to stay tuned for the third segment because we are going to do a peanut butter chocolate chip cookie in a cast iron, one of those deep dish ones.
Oh,
hello.
Man.
Holy mother of cookies, is it good? You guys stay tuned.
Literally.
It's so good. It's so good. And also, guys, last but not least, reason for using cast iron cookware, it's virtually indestructible.
It is.
There is a reason why you hear of people who are still using their great-grandmother's cast iron skillet. Even if you don't treat it well, you should never need to buy a new cast iron skillet. If it rusts, cast iron can be restored to usable condition with a little bit of elbow grease. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Just got to work at it a little bit.
You just got to go at it a little bit.
Go at it. Yeah.
That's a very good point, though, is that cast iron, I think that's why it's such a big deal here in the South, is it holds that tradition. That's what Grandma cooked in. That's what Grandma's grandma cooked with. And it's just been that way.
We Southerners are all about the tradition.
Yes.
We're about and if tradition and food can come together, well,
then we love it.
Then we love it, right? Now, there are a few myths that I'd like to dispel about cast iron skillets, okay? What you may hear, or you may have heard, that you should never cook acidic foods in a cast iron skillet.
Yes, I have heard
Acidic ingredients like tomatoes, lemons, and wine can be cooked in a well-seasoned cast iron skillet for short amounts of time. Okay. You can saute cherry tomatoes. I wouldn't make a long simmering tomato sauce that's going to cook all day, maybe. You know what I'm saying, in there. But if you recently purchased your skillet and it still needs to be broken in, acidic ingredients can kind of erode that seasoning a little bit.
Gotcha.
So just watch that. Also, you can actually over-season your skillet.
Oh.
So the myth is that you can't do that. You can. If you put way too much oil in there, you keep rubbing it can kind of build up and develop a little bit of a sticky film.
Yeah.
You don't need as much as you think, right? Also, we discussed this earlier. It is a myth that you can't use metal utensils. You absolutely can.
Oh, yes.
Also a myth that a rusty pan is ruined. No, it's not.
No.
You just got to scrub off all the nasty.
And then you're good to go. You're right back to business.
How about that? Guys, if you don't have a cast iron pan, go steal one from somebody's grandma. You need one. I'm just kidding. Guys, we got some recipes coming up in our cast iron skillet, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Now don't be so bashful, Nashville. Everybody eats when they come to my house.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
This is Jenny Earhart with Southern Sisters Radio, and I'm your Southern sister. In case you didn't know, you can check us out every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. And I'd love to hear from you. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
And welcome back to the Southern Sisters Radio Show. It's food time.
Oh, boy.
Let's talk about it. Let's eat it.
I'm excited.
I know, right? Me too.
We just talked about all the tradition of a cast iron skillet here in the South, and all the food that gets cooked in it is even more a part of the tradition. Right?
After all, even based on everything we said in the second segment about the uses of cast iron, if we couldn't make delicious food in it, it would all be for naught. I mean, It's about what we cook in it. It's about the delicious, traditional family dishes that many of us grew up eating from our mothers and our grandmothers' cast iron skillets. I've been known to eat out of a cast iron skillet, just right out of it.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
I think that's that's a very romantic thing. I saw that in a movie one time. It was a couple that made I think they made scrambled eggs or an omelet or something. And they just were eating out of the same cast iron skillet together. They each had their own fork, and it was just very Lady and the Trampish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you may be wondering, what are the best things that I can make in my cast iron skillet? Well, you can make a lot of things. I've just pared it down a little bit for you. Some of our top favorite things here in the South that we like to do in a cast iron skillet. Number one, cornbread.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Cornbread. Now, sure, you can make cornbread in a muffin tin or in a baking dish if you have to, but a blazing hot cast iron skillet is the only way to get that wonderfully crisp and golden brown crust. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes.
You know. Place the skillet in the oven, then preheat it. Right? The skillet will heat up as you prepare the batter, and it will take about 7 to 10 minutes, okay? And then when the skillet is hot, toss the butter into the skillet, a couple tablespoons, let it kind of melt in there, right? And then when the butter is melted, carefully pour the butter into the pan, right? And kind of stir it a little bit to kind of combine that butter in, right? Oh, my word. Bake it until the cornbread is golden brown and pulls away from the edges of the skillet just a little bit. Nick is closing his eyes.
Just picturing it in my head. Yum.
I want to close my eyes too, but I'm reading my notes. I know. Sometimes I do. I just close my eyes and think about what I want to eat. But cornbread. Absolutely. Now, I have a recipe in my first cookbook, Sunday in the South, for white cheddar cornbread.
Ooh.
Hello, beautiful.
Yum.
Oh, it's good. You know what I do is basically I'm doing my traditional cornbread recipe, but when it comes out of the oven, while it's still hot, I sprinkle a full cup of shredded white cheddar cheese over the top of it.
Oh, that sounds good.
Hello.
Yum.
If you want to do a sort of a Mexican variety, like a Mexican cornbread, you can also stir in about half a can to a can of those green chilies.
Ooh. That's a good idea.
You could go crazy with it, quite frankly. You could pop in some jalapeno.
Cornbread's versatile.
Right?
Very versatile.
It's almost like a mechanism, for carrying other things.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things in the world is to put a big old slice of cornbread in the bottom of a shallow dish and just ladle chili over the top of it. Right on top of it.
Yes.
A dollop of sour cream, a little more shredded cheese, some pickled jalapenos, a cold beer.
That sounds good.
Oh, my word.
That's another summertime recipe.
Right. I know, right? Okay, another thing that I love to do for those of you that are familiar with angel biscuits, they're a yummy little yeast dinner roll. Those are so beautiful when they're prepared in a cast iron skillet. You can serve them right out of the cast iron skillet. So for those of you that don't have a good angel biscuit recipe, I'm going to put one on the website. You can go check it out. As always, guys, with all of our recipes, just go to southernsistershome.com, click on the blog. Yes. And the recipes are there.
Right there.
Okay. Now, number 3, fried chicken or fish. Classic for a cast iron skillet. Now, whether you prefer to pan fry it or to deep fry it, right? Cast iron retains heat better than any other vessel, right? Use the large cast iron skillet for pan frying, and then use a cast iron Dutch oven for deep frying. You want the higher sides, obviously, if you're deep frying. And don't overcrowd the pan. That's probably one of the number one mistakes people make that causes your dish either not to fry properly or to brown properly, is when you overcrowd the pan. You need air all the way around every single piece. That keeps that sizzle. You see what I'm saying? That keeps that heat up. So fry in small batches so that you can easily turn each piece of fried chicken or fish, and that way you'll ensure that you get a really even crust. Right?
Wow.
Now, I've got a recipe for the Southern Sisters Cajun seasoned pan-fried tilapia. Oh, yeah.
That
Come
sounds
to me.
delicious.
Come in closer. Are you listening? So what you want to start with are 4 tilapia fillets. You want to sprinkle the fillets generously with Cajun seasoning on both sides, right? Set them aside. Now, in a little bowl, you want to combine about a tablespoon more of Cajun seasoning, 3 tablespoons of self-rising flour, and a half a cup of plain yellow cornmeal. Got it? You're going to dredge each filet into that flour mixture on both sides, shake off the excess, set them aside. You're going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter and 4 tablespoons of oil in a large cast iron skillet. All right. The butter is good for flavor, right? Mm-hmm. And the oil will help the smoke point. Keep that oil good and hot because it can get to a higher temperature without burning, right? You're going to add the fillets to your pan. Right? They're going to be hot over medium-high heat. Add the fillets to the pan. You're going to cook them for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side or until the fish flakes easily with a fork. I like to squeeze a little lemon over the fillets. Maybe garnish it. Maybe you've got something pretty in the yard.
There you go.
Give it a little garnish. And it makes a beautiful presentation.
Oh, yeah.
Take a picture and put it on Instagram. That's what I do.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. Oh, and it's so good for you. And that's a pan-fried. It's not deep-fried, so it's not quite as... doesn't have as much oil in it. You know what I'm saying? It's a little on the lighter side. Huh. Now, I will say, if there was only one thing that I could do with a cast iron skillet, this next thing would be it.
Okay.
Steak.
Oh, yes.
Steak.
There is something really even better than popping it on the grill out back. The cast iron skillet just... something about it. It's the way it browns the outside.
I know, right?
It's so good.
Listen, once you've cooked a steak in cast iron, you'll never go back to the grill. A heavy cast iron pan is great for searing. And when you add a steak to a sizzling hot pan, it gives the steak a tasty brown crust, right? Brown the steak for a few minutes on each side without moving it. People want to move it around. Don't be moving it. Keep the hands off the steak. Let it sit there. Let it brown, right, before you turn it. You got to give time for that crust to develop, right? And depending on the thickness of the steak, you can then transfer it to the oven to kind of finish it off, right? Now, I am going to put on the website my instructions for the perfect pan-seared steaks.
Okay.
It is just, I don't want it any other way now. This is the way I do it. And a little butter, maybe some herbs. You could even around the edges, when you finish it off in the oven, you could put some little cherry tomatoes around the outside or some mushrooms. Let those kind of roast up, in those beef juices that are in the pan and all that butter and oil. I mean, it comes out of the oven. It is a gorgeous... It's a work of art.
Delicious.
I'll do a ribeye that way. New York strip is one of my favorites.
Oh, yes.
Right, guys? So I am going to give you step-by-step instructions on the Southern Sisters website for the perfect cast iron skillet steak. Yeah, you can't miss it. And remember the oven mitt.
Yes. Yes.
Always remember the oven mitt. Now, I will tell you guys, no meal is complete without dessert.
You got to have a good dessert. So I can cook steak, I can cook fish, I can do all these crazy things, and I can make dessert in the cast iron skillet.
I didn't even mention appetizers, but there's all kinds of yummy baked appetizers, layered dips, spinach artichoke dips. Quite frankly, it just makes such a pretty presentation when you pull it out.
That's very true.
If you do it in the cast iron skillet, you take it out of the oven, put it on a little placemat or something on the table, put some baguette slices next to any of your baked dips. There's that yummy, here in the South, a lot of folks know that Parmesan artichoke dip.
Yes.
Right? That's so good. People make it at the holidays a lot. Any of your layered Mexican dips are pretty also. It just makes a beautiful presentation.
Very nice.
And tastes yummy.
So now dessert.
Let's get to the dessert, what's really important. Now, so that is actually my number 5 favorite thing to make in a cast iron skillet are cookies. Or I should say cookie. Cookie. One big, fat, giant, enormous, wonderful, heavenly cookie.
Please.
Yes.
Go
Crispy
on.
around the edges and chewy. I got a little too excited about that.
It sounds delicious.
A little too over the top. Well, thank you. Now, if you are in the mood for homemade chocolate chip cookies, skip the sheet pan and grab your cast iron skillet. A skillet makes outrageously good deep dish cookies with soft centers and crispy outer edges. Right? A cookie lover's dream, and I got one for you.
Perfect.
All right, hold on to your seat. You ready? Peanut butter chocolate chip skillet cookie.
Peanut butter chocolate chip. Oh, my.
Here's how you do it. You want to preheat the oven to 350 degrees, and you want to melt 1 stick of butter in an 8-inch cast iron skillet, over medium heat. So preheat the oven, but you're starting it on the stove, okay? You're melting it over medium heat, 1 stick of butter. Stir in a half a cup of white sugar and a half a cup of brown sugar and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, okay? Remove it from the heat and allow it to cool about 5 minutes, okay? You've stirred that together. Carefully whisk together 2 eggs into the sugar mixture. So in goes the eggs into the skillet. And then separately in a small bowl, you're going to combine 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/3 cup of cocoa powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, as with many recipes, you add the dry mixture to the wet mixture. So you take that dry mixture and you stir it into your cast iron skillet wet mixture and you stir it until combined. Now, carefully, you're going to fold into your cookie batter one of 2 things. I guess you could do both. Either 1 cup of those little mini Reese's chocolate chip cups, the little tiny ones, teeny tiny ones, right? Or you could do 1 cup of peanut butter chips.
Ooh.
You could do both, but just stir that in.
I was say do both.
Pop it into the oven. Pop it into you would. Pop it into your 350 oven for 15 to 18 minutes or until the beginning. It starts to turn golden on top and around the edges, but it's still slightly soft in the center. You don't want to overbake it because it will continue to bake as you take it out.
Yes.
After you take it out. So remove it from the oven, let it cool for 5 minutes. What I then like to do to my gorgeous peanut butter chocolate chip cookie in the cast iron skillet is sprinkle it with a few extra peanut butter cups, the little ones, right? And then drizzle a little chocolate syrup over the top. It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful, beautiful.
And then I would then take said skillet and run off and hide and eat the whole thing.
You burn your fingers. You put that back down on the counter.
Oh, no. I remembered both of them.
No, you'd have to come to me first because I would be standing over by the freezer with a scoop of vanilla ice cream to put on top.
Perfect.
And then
that
it's perfect. And serve it. Serve it immediately once the ice cream's on top, y'all.
Oh, yes.
If you didn't love your cast iron skillet now, I hope I've given you maybe 5 new reasons.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
To fall in love.
To fall in love with your cast iron skillet. That's the way we do it here in the South, folks. So remember, these recipes will be on the website. Go to southernsistershome.com. Click on the blog. That's where we put everything every week. And we love to hear from you. You know we do. Email us at radio@southernsistershome.com. We'll be back with a few ways to beat the heat deliciously.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Hey, KLRN radio family, this is Jenny Earhart. Check out the Southern Sisters radio show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Jenny Earhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. Connect with me personally. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
and welcome back to the Southern Sisters Show. Wow, it has been a great show today.
Oh, it's been a blast.
Right? It's just so much fun talking about food. I've always said I like talking about it almost as I like eating it, right? So we worked our way through pesto. And guys, listen, pesto is just the gift that keeps on giving. Basil is, I should say.
Yes.
And the different things you can do. We didn't get a lot of time to talk about it in the second segment, but I have really sort of integrated the fresh pesto that I talked about into a couple of other recipes this week. Certainly stirred into pasta, which is amazing. I did that last week with some grilled shrimp. And then, can I tell you, I made the best, well, at least my kids said it was the best, panini. It was a grilled chicken panini with mozzarella cheese and fresh pesto.
I'm on my way.
Right?
You'll have to make one of those
Come on
for
over
me.
to my
We'll
house,
come
Kim.
over.
Kim is back in the seat here with me. We're just kind of wrapping up our show today. I was so glad that you were able to be here with us today, and it was such a great time chatting with your client, Michelle from Oakton. Just amazing.
Yes. I'll tell you, they are just such fantastic sellers, and they have such a wealth of information about the history of the house. And what a wonderful property. And what a great opportunity for someone to come along and continue the legacy of the grounds and of the home.
Right.
And it has so much to offer. The gardens in the back, you really feel like you're in the south of France.
That's amazing.
And there's so much history, but the house actually has a great floor plan.
Right.
It's so open and
and
not
a lot
what
of times
you would
with
expect.
from a house from that era.
Exactly.
Built in, when was it?
1838.
1838, yeah.
Yes.
They weren't really into the open floor plans typically at that time.
No, but actually it is very open.
Ah.
And what's even more amazing about it is you've got the original hardwood floors, and they are beautiful.
Wow.
The 12 by 12 windows, original throughout the house.
Because Michelle was talking about the etching in the initials etched into the glass. So clearly those are original.
But yet, of course, there are some great modern conveniences as well to the house.
Right. We Southern women do like our modern conveniences.
Yes,
also.
we do. Like,
we don't want to, it's air conditioned.
Yeah.
We don't
our
want to sweat too
bathrooms
much.
and our air conditioning and our nice big closets. We all love that.
And that's another thing too. I will say, anyone who's grown up in the South has always kind of had that dream of having that picturesque house near the old downtown square with the beautiful landscaping and the beautiful old. I mean, I think we've all kind of wanted that, right, at some point in our lives.
Oh, sure. And this house offers that and so much more. It even sits on the Cherokee Indian Trail.
That is cool.
Yes, and they've got an outdoor fireplace, which was featured in Southern Living to commemorate the Cherokee Indians that's on the property, too.
Oh, I love that. Okay, well, that is fantastic. Well, guys, you can reach out to Kim Foley. Certainly you're with Berkshire Hathaway, who's listing the house. What is your phone number again? 40, what was it? 4? We had that earlier. I tell you what, guys, we listed it earlier, but you can also email us. You can always reach out to us at radio@southernsistershome.com. We will make sure to get you into the right person. This was great, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I had a blast today in the pesto. And
Right?
Well, at least I'm pretty sure that if you decide that Oakton is the home for you and your family, you won't have any tacky wedding issues.
It ain't happening.
Right?
Not there. No. Quite frankly, that place is so gorgeous and stately and classic. I can't imagine,
Oh, gosh, no. It's breathtaking. It really is. And I've seen some of the wedding photos from events that have been there.
Right.
Outstanding.
Just gorgeous. I can kick off my shoes and dance on the front porch there.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Sure
I can
can.
too. Absolutely. Well, folks, we are so glad that you are a part of our show this week. Every week. It's always so great to hear from you, too. Please email us your thoughts and suggestions to radio@southernsistershome.com. Yes, we aired some reruns lately, right? We heard about that. I had to take a little vacation, but I'm back, and we're excited to spend the summer with you. Have a great week.
What's going on, KLRN radio family? This is Joey Wensler, a.k.a. The Wens, and you're listening to Southern Sisters Radio right here on KLRN Radio. Say, check out this show every single Sunday at 2 o'clock right here on KLRN, and Wens World every single Tuesday at 8 p.m., and we got a little bit something extra here for you because we got a few extra minutes. So, without further ado, the Southern Supper and Sud segment, which pairs the perfect summer recipe with a perfect beer pairing. Thanks for listening.
Time for the soon-to-be famous Supper and Suds segment, the perfect pairing of food and beer right here in Wynn's World.
Man, oh man, it's always awesome to have our southern sister, Jenny Earhart, right here in Wynn's World.
You just like me because I'm talking about the food, Joey.
That's right. We're taking a trip 95 north up to New York for a New York strip steak this weekend.
You know, one of the nice things is that you can enjoy that New York strip right here in the good old South, where we are from, using your grandmother's cast iron skillet. Now, I'm a big fan of the cast iron skillet. We know it has a huge, long, and honored tradition here in the South.
Sure.
But you'd be amazed how many things you can make in it, and it is my preferred way to make a good steak.
Well, not to mention on these hot Georgia afternoon and evenings, you can avoid the sunburn and the mosquito bites.
This is right. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to give you a little rundown here on my favorite way to do a New York strip in a cast iron skillet. And folks, if you don't have a cast iron skillet, do you know that you can pick up a perfectly good cast iron skillet pre-seasoned even at a place like Walmart? They are not expensive things, and they are just a kitchen workhorse. You'll use it over and over and over again.
Now, quick question, though, before you get started. Do you have a preferred brand and one possibly you like to avoid?
I got to tell you, I kind of love the Lodge. Just because I know their story. They have a long and illustrious history here in the South. In fact, on the Southern Sisters radio show, we did an entire segment one time about the Lodge family and how they developed their cast iron. And you can get those anywhere, at any major retailer, and they're not expensive.
Cool.
And I have a couple of different sizes because, you know, for bigger things, I'll use a deeper maybe. But for a good old maybe 10, 12-inch Lodge or any brand, cast iron skillet is you will not be sorry that you invested in that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what I would do with let's say I'm going to cook dinner for you, Joey, and we got 2 good New York strip steaks. You want to remove those steaks from the refrigerator and season both sides of those with coarse sea salt or kosher salt and some ground black pepper, okay? You can kind of eyeball it on the quantity, whatever you like.
Right.
If you have a favorite spice that you like, a favorite steak rub, okay? This is really, use whatever you like. This is more about the technique than what you're actually putting on the steak. Because everybody has a different preference, right? But I do want you to do this. I want you to take those steaks out of the out of the refrigerator, for 45 minutes to an hour before it ever goes into the heat.
See, that sounds so counterintuitive to me because I think meat always needs to be refrigerated up to the point where you actually start cooking it.
No, you'll be sorry if you do that. And nothing's going to go wrong with that steak if it starts to come to room temperature. It's not going to be warm enough to where it's going to cause any kind of health problems or anything of that nature. And you're going to have more even cooking consistency. You're going to get the effect that you want.
Nice.
Now, what you need to do is add about a tablespoon of cooking oil to your cast iron skillet.
Now, does it matter if it's olive oil or vegetable?
Well, olive oil does not have as high of a smoke point, so you might want to go with a corn oil. You can use the olive oil if you want.
Okay.
It's just your preference. And then you're going to heat that burner up to about medium-high heat and warm the oil until the surface just begins to shimmer. That's how you know it's ready to sear. You don't want it smoking. That's a little too hot, okay? And listen, I will admit this technique causes a little bit of smoke in the kitchen. You may want to take the batteries out of the smoke detector. Don't forget to put them back. But there is a little splattering that goes on with this technique, but it is so worth it. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to drop those steaks into your hot pan. You will hear the sizzle. Make sure not to crowd the pan. Okay. If you're cooking 2 or 3 steaks or maybe 4 steaks, you may need to use 2 pans or cook them separately.
Now, how much space is ideal between steaks?
You just need, I would say, at least an inch. You need air around it. Same time you're browning anything in a pan, you do not want to crowd it because then not enough air gets around them and they will start to steam. We don't want steamed steaks.
No.
Right? We want pan-seared steaks.
Right.
And so they need oxygen. So don't crowd anytime you're cooking a meat, don't crowd it in the pan if you're looking to achieve that nice crust on the outside. Got it? And what you're going to do then is cook those steaks for 2 to 3 minutes. Flip them over and cook them for about another 2 minutes, right? Now, if you really want to get fancy, you can take your tongs and turn those steaks on their sides and kind of hold them in place and sear the sides of the steak a little bit. You know.
I never thought about that.
Yeah. Oh, I do it all the time. It's kind of fun. You get that nice then seared around the outside.
Yeah.
Now, using an oven mitt, you're going to transfer the pan into the oven. So this is a 2-step process. We sear our steaks on the stove and we finish them in the oven. At that point, they're probably only going to need maybe another 4 to 5 minutes. That will create a medium pink center. If you want it a little bit more rare, try 2 to 4 minutes. Got it?
Quick question.
Yeah.
At what temperature?
Oh, we're going to preheat the oven to 450. It 450. Is hot, baby. Yeah, okay. You want it hot because we are fast cooking. That's going to seal in those juices. Then what you're going to do is remove the pan from the oven using the tongs. Place the steak on a cutting board. Cover it loosely with aluminum foil and let it sit.
We want to give our little steaks a break.
Oh, see, this is the challenge for yours truly, because once I smell that fresh cooked steak, I just want to dive right in.
I know. We're all like that. And we've all made the mistake of cutting into a steak that's too hot, and we watch the juices run out all over the cutting board. You don't want that. So use every bit of restraint you have not to touch that steak for about 7 to 10 minutes. And then when you're ready to serve it, just kind of place it on a platter, cut it against the grain. If you really want to be fancy, oh my word, like a tablespoon of butter on top.
Oh, yeah.
Just let it melt over the sides. Or if you have some fresh herbs growing in the garden, a little butter and herbs. You know, it's a happy thing.
My mouth is wide open. My jaw is dropped because we have the one and only, our Southern sister, Jenny Earhart, right here in Wensworld. But you know, folks, Jenny Earhart has the most amazing show. It actually kicks off the Man Cave afternoon right here on The Answer every Saturday at high noon. And boy, oh boy, does she have recipes galore. And not only that, but you can connect and get to know Jenny on her website.
That's right. You just head on over to southernsistershome.com. All the recipes we talk about on the show every week are right there. And we also love to hear from our listeners. So if you want to email us, radio@southernsistershome.com. You know, give us some recipe ideas.
And here's a little exclusive. You can go to her Facebook page and check out her recording, Facebook Live, unfiltered and uncensored, exclusively for you. And it is well worth your time, folks.
Yeah.
So much fun.
We have fun off the air as well as on the air, shall we say. So it's a great way to kind of see what goes on behind the scenes.
And folks, stay tuned because we have the perfect beer pairing right after this. Beer guy Aaron in Wensworld. Welcome back, man.
Hey, it's great to be here. Absolutely.
So what did we miss this week on Beer Guys?
Well, we talked, actually, it's called a breweriana, which is a hard enough word to say, which is actually beer collectibles. So beer cans, bottles, bottle caps, cards, advertising, those types of things. So we had a couple of really good collectors on this week. It was awesome.
What about DUI citations and such?
That's all you, man.
That's all me.
That's all you, exactly.
That's my past.
There you go. That's it.
But our Southern sister, Jenny, had some pan-seared New York strip steak earlier, and it's juicy and delicious, and I know that you are the guy to go to for all beer pairings.
Absolutely. So there's a couple of different beers that you want to go to while you're eating the steak. Now, while you're cooking the steak, now he's pan-seared, it's indoors, but if you're grilling a steak outdoors, I go with a really nice IPA, by the way.
Okay.
So it's a good outdoorsy beer. Tropical IPAs are in now. There's no fruit adjuncts to them, but the way the hops are created, it makes it taste kind of tropically right now. And my jam right now when I'm grilling outdoors is one by Jailhouse, a brewery down in Hampton. They've got a 5.0 tropical IPA. It's this bright orange can. You can't miss it. It's phenomenal. So if you like IPAs, and even if you don't like IPAs, try that out. It's a lot more drinkable than usual. But we're here to talk about eating.
Yeah.
So, couple of ones. I want this is the easy one. This is the one that you'll go to if, again, you're not that adventurous, but it's still a fantastic beer. An amber ale. Very classic, very easy drinking beer, and it goes great with the steak. Local option here is Gate City Brewing out of Roswell. They make one called Copperhead. It's a fantastic amber ale, a really nice, easy drinking beer. I usually keep a sixer of that in my fridge just in case company shows up or just need something pretty easy. Again, it's just an easy drinker, and it's going to go well with that steak. If you're a little more adventurous, though, a couple from Reformation I want to talk about. Belgians. Belgians have a little bit more of a yeast character, more of a floral aroma to it, but they're still fairly mild enough that it's going to pair well with something that's a little bit smoky, a little bit tasty too, so like a steak. So a couple to talk about. First of all, from Reformation, it's called Jude. It's a triple, which is a golden ale, a Belgian golden ale. A little bit on the strong side, but the problem with triples is that they're very easily drinkable. Yeah. So you can have 2 or 3 and not even think about it, but realize that it's going to be higher in ABV, and you're going to have some problems if you drink more than one. So just FYI on that one. A little bit more easy pairing, by the way, it's Cadence, which is their double. It's a Belgian double ale, which is more darker, but it's got some really nice uses Belgian candy sugar, really kind of a dark enough, a little bit more of a smoky note to it, but it also has some nice floral notes too. So any of those Belgians, I think, would pair very well with steak.
And of course, Beer Guys Radio every Saturday right here on The Answer at 1 o'clock. Just immediately following Southern Sisters.
That's right.
Kicking off Man Cave Radio
there you
at
go.
noon. Connect with Beer Guy Aaron on the Twitter sphere.
That's right. Beer Guy Aaron at Beer Guy Aaron, or you can check us out at Beer Guys Radio on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, also at Beer Guys Radio as well. So
and on Friendster, right?
No, not Friendster, but we do MySpace, which is good.
Am I still in the top 8?
No.
Oh, I didn't make the cut. Well, maybe next week with the next pairing, I'll make it back in their good graces. Thanks again, Aaron.
Cheers.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
This is Jenny Earhart with Southern Sisters Radio, and I'm your Southern sister. In case you didn't know, you can check us out every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. And I'd love to hear from you. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.